Hey Canucks fans, welcome to Clay's Canucks commentary for Monday, July the 15th. I'm Clay Emo, I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter, I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram. I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club, and this is my Canucks take, all in one take. I want to start off by saying thank you to those of you who reach out to me on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, in real life. I did hurt my wrist quite badly in my roller hockey game last night, my playoff game. I did it when I was trying to block a shot. I actually landed on my left wrist. My glove had ridden up, so I hit my bare wrist on the concrete. I didn't really notice it until I was getting undressed after the game, and then I realized that it was bruising badly. I couldn't move it in a certain way, and my bone was popping every time I moved my wrist 180 degrees. I won't do it for you now, but if you've seen my videos on any of my social media, you've seen what I mean. So I found out, thankfully, after 5 hours in the ER at Richmond General, it's not a fracture, thank goodness. So no surgery, but it is indeed a badly sprained wrist with strained ligaments, and that's why the ligaments are making the bones rub against each other, or push against each other at least, and that's why my bone is popping out. You can see it from the outside of my skin. So I'm gonna see a physio this Thursday, but it does mean no hockey, softball, golf, piano playing for the next 2 weeks, unless the physio tells me something differently. But I do want to thank you for reaching out to me and wishing me, prayers or quick healing and everything else. So thank you very much. So speaking of sending positive vibes, that's what I'm going to talk about today for a few minutes. It's this whole notion of positive versus negative Canucks fans. And originally, I merely was going to talk about Canucks fans and Canucks media in the same vlog, but I realized it would take too long. It would be as long as my 50-minute Dusty interview from Friday. So I'm going to save the Canucks media, guys like Sportsnet and TSN, for another vlog on another day. Today, I want to talk about Canucks fans, and really I'm going to focus in on the ones that I see on Twitter, because those are the Canucks fans that I interact with the most. Obviously, I see Canucks fans on YouTube, right here if you're watching this on YouTube, and I see Canucks fans on Instagram, on Facebook. I see fans on message boards. I see fans in real life when I'm at games or when I'm talking to my friends and family who are Canucks fans. So I get all that, but really the most interaction I have with Canucks fans is indeed here on YouTube and especially on Twitter. So this notion, a lot of it's coming up in the past week or two about positive versus negative fans, and it's because of all the off-season moves the Canucks have made. And it was further fueled by the announcement that Ryan Beach, the longtime writer at The Athletic, Canucks Army, Daily Hive, and many others, is joining the Vancouver Canucks as a video analyst in their analytics department. Like, awesome move. And then a lot of people were saying, well, it's because, he was able to, some people were complaining who don't like him for whatever reason. I don't know who wouldn't like Ryan Beach. We're saying, oh, it's because he's always positive and, he never said a negative thing, which isn't the truth. He was actually very fair in his constructive criticism of the Canucks, but he didn't trash the Canucks. And I think the Canucks obviously saw that he was a very, very bright person and someone who will benefit their entire organization. So congrats to Ryan. But it fueled this conversation about positive versus negative Canucks fans. Obviously, as the founder of the GLCPC, I am a positive fan. And this GLCPC, for those of you who don't know, it's the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club. Just two criteria: you got to be good looking, and you got to be a positive Canucks fan. When I say good looking, obviously standards are very low if I'm the founder of the club, and there's no membership fee, there's no application. You're just self-admitting. If you're in, you're in. So you just got to think that you're good looking, and you got to be a relatively positive Canucks fan. Now, what that doesn't mean is that you are blindly positive Canucks fan. It doesn't mean you're blindly optimistic. So I know I get accused of often being too idealistic or too blind in my fandom, that I refuse to acknowledge any of the poor management moves that Jim Benning has made, or I refuse to acknowledge that the Canucks have been one of the worst teams in the league for the past 5 years, or I refuse to acknowledge that the Canucks have holes in their lineup. I acknowledge all those things. I'm not an idiot, right? Put it frankly, I'm a season ticket holder for the past 9 seasons. I play the game, not at a high level, but I play the game. I understand the game. I know some people on the inside, but that doesn't make a difference. But I do believe that I study the game, I understand the game, I understand stats, I understand enough of the analytics where I can make informed opinions. I just choose to focus on the positive ones because I don't, in my general outlook in life, is I don't dwell on the negatives. I don't dwell on weaknesses. I would rather accentuate the positives and work on my own personal life. I want to work on my strengths, acknowledge my weaknesses, but capitalize and work on my strengths. Well, the same is true about my fandom. I recognize that there are holes on the team. I recognize that the Sutter contract's not good. I recognize that the Eriksson contract's not good. I recognize they may have overpaid a little bit with Tyler Myers, but I still want to focus on the positive. The good things that Myers brings to the lineup, the good things that Jim Benning has done during this offseason. And as I've said many times before, We are a much stronger team on paper right now than we were at this time last season, than we were even 4 weeks ago before this offseason truly started in earnest. So yes, I'm a positive fan. I will never apologize for that. I'm not a Canucks media member, despite how much I know a lot of media members, or I'm friends with them, or once in a while I'll appear on something. Not a lot actually, but I've done a couple of radio hits or whatever it may be. But I'm certainly not a Canucks media member, and I think I'm probably too positive to be a Canucks media member, meaning, I try to be as objective as I can, but I have the beautiful thing about not being a media member and being a fan, first and foremost, vlogger, parody song creator, whatever it is I can be less objective in my fandom, and I want to be as positive as I can. Because I want the Canucks to win. I want the Canucks to make the playoffs. I want the Canucks to win the Stanley Cup. I'm not stupid to say no. I mean, what I was saying is a lot of people, I've said this before, a lot of people say, no, Clay, you shouldn't be hoping for the Canucks to make the playoffs. You should be hoping that they win the Stanley Cup. Well, of course I want them to win the Stanley Cup. That's the whole point. But they got to make the playoffs to indeed win the Stanley Cup. So I am a positive Canucks fan, unabashedly a positive Canucks fan, unashamed, and I will be like that until the day I die. Now, there's what we so-called negative Canucks fans. And I think I'm not going to paint the whole Canucks fandom, the negative fans, with a broad stroke. That's unfair, and I'm going to get to that in my conclusion in a few minutes. But there are a few people on Canucks Twitter where no matter what the Canucks do, no matter what Jim Benning does, a small minority of people will just find a way to trash on the team. And whether they'll bring up the Sutter contract or their Eriksson contract or an overpayment on this guy, or why did they trade away this guy? And I get that, you have to look at all these things in the big picture, but I also think that you kind of got to move on sometimes, and you have to recognize that I think the management's doing the best they can. I'm sure they would like to have a do-over, a mulligan on a few of these things, but you have to kind of go with the cards that you're dealt, and you kind of you can't look so much in the past and be so much reactive. You have to be proactive and figure out how you're going to move forward from this day going forward. So it's not a lot of Canucks fans, but I've seen a few where, and I'm not going to name any names, of course, but I see a few people on Twitter, I'm sure you know who they are, who no matter what Jim Benning does, no matter what the Canucks do, they will slam it. They'll not give the Canucks even a chance to see how they do. So they won't even acknowledge that this has been a positive offseason, where I think we could almost unanimously agree it's been a positive offseason so far, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. So I think there's a small percentage of people like that. And then there are people who back up their concerns with management, the concerns with the team, with analytics, with stats, with the eye test, with their experience of, just like how I'm positive about being a season ticket member. I know people in the team, I know people in the media. There are people who are more on the negative side, who are the same thing. They're season ticket members. They go to games. They know people in the media, and they have a voice as well. They're well researched and well spoken, and that's fine. That's cool, in fact. And I love engaging with those type of people. And I've said it many times. It doesn't mean we have to agree on everything, but we can certainly be civil about the way we disagree, whether we're talking about facts or eye test or experience or gut feeling or hunches or predictions, whatever it may be. I love the fact that Twitter in particular can lend itself to quick conversations. But I think the challenge of Twitter for both positive or negative fans is it's very simple to type what you want and to press send and then walk away and not even have to worry about responding, right? And I guess that's both the blessing and the curse is it's a medium to share your opinion, but no one says that you have to agree, listen, or even engage with other people. And there's some people that don't, right? They just state their opinion, they press the tweet button, and they don't worry about responding. They don't worry about how hurtful or how positive their comments are, or whatever it may be. They don't worry about any ramifications. And that's not a good use of Twitter either. I think if you're gonna go so hard on one way, either positive or negative, you should be able to back it up. But when you do back it up, you can do so in a civil manner, and I don't think the attack should ever become personal, right? And I think that's the challenging thing is on both sides. So again, I'm not calling either side out, but on both sides, you see people who, as soon as someone disagrees with them, they resort to, well, you don't know anything, or what do you, or you have no right to say this, or look at how many followers you have. All really irrelevant arguments when you think about it. I think the best, and I've done this many times, is I say, okay, I acknowledge your opinion. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I can see where you're coming from. Or I can see why you might say that, even though I think it's this way. And that's how good conversations start. And we learned that in negotiation, right? The very first point in negotiation is you have to understand put yourself in the other person's point of view, in the other person's shoes. Understand where the other person is coming from. Or Stephen Covey used to say, seek first to be understood. No, seek first to understand. I can't believe I messed this up. Seek first to understand before being understood. So I try really hard to understand the other person's point of view. And as long as they're coming at me civilly or coming at me with rational arguments, then that's cool. Let's engage in a civil discussion, even if we agree to disagree at the very end. I think that's what makes Twitter awesome. And it's really funny. I saw a couple people talking about the positive side, how it's almost ironic that they become negative because they are so positive in their positivity that they refuse to see anything that the negative side is saying, to the point where they're almost insulting the negative side, or they're almost defending blindly, some moves from the Canucks. That's not good. That doesn't do anyone any good on that hand either. So although I'm firmly entrenched on the positive side, right? I'm always team playoffs. I'm never team T-A-N-K. I can't even say the word, right? I've never been like that in the past few years. I don't think anyone's going to be talking about that this season, especially given that we have to give one of our first-round draft picks in the next 2 years to the Tampa Bay Lightning as part of that military. I don't think anyone's going to ever consider team T-A-N-K at all this season. It's going to be a matter of how do the Canucks have enough to make the playoffs. So here's the bottom line for me. Whether you're a positive fan, whether you're a negative fan, or somewhere in the middle, this is my request. And it may fall on deaf ears, but I want you to hear me out. It's okay if people disagree with you. It's not okay when you go back to those people and insult their fandom or insult their intelligence just because they have a differing opinion. So you more negative Canucks fans, don't say I'm not a good fan just because I'm overly positive. Just as I would never say that you're not a true fan because you're overly negative, because maybe you do spend money. And it's not even about the money. You watch the games, you spend money either at the games, or you're watching the games live, or at home on TV, or at the bar, or whatever. You want them to win a Stanley Cup, and you want them to make good moves, and you're vocal about it. That's cool. I would never ever say that you're not a real Canucks fan. I would never ever say only the real Canucks fans are the fans that want to make the playoffs and don't say anything negative. That doesn't make sense. That would make you almost like a sheep. And I would never want to be, accused of being a sheep. I'm not afraid to call the team out when they do something silly or make a bad decision. But I think the key difference is I choose to focus on the positive. Acknowledge the negatives or the weakness, like I said, but choose to focus on the positives. So basically, my ask to all Canucks fans, no matter what side you're on, let's have these conversations. Let's grow this fan base. That's awesome. I have no problem with bandwagon fans. Those who are you're usually more positive if you want to join the bandwagon, more negative if you want to jump off. That's fine. Jump off, jump on. But continue coming back, because that's how our fan base grows. And I'll never drop I've been around for 45 years. Where are you coming from? Just do me a favor. Just admit you're a bandwagon fan, and then we can still grow the fan base. But keep the argument civil, but be prepared to back up your arguments as well. And know that just because someone doesn't agree with you, it doesn't mean they're any less of a fan of this wonderful team that we love, that we argue about, that we are passionate about, and that we all so dearly want to see win a Stanley Cup. Canucks fans, leave a comment below. I kind of rambled a little bit, but I think you got the gist of what I'm talking about. I'd love to read what you have to say about anything I have to say, or people that you admire, maybe on Canucks Twitter, either positive or negative, or who are willing to stand up for what they believe in, or maybe you agree with me, or maybe you completely disagree with everything I'm saying. Maybe you agree with my own self-assessment of myself. Well, that's what a self-assessment is of myself. So maybe you disagree with that. Whatever it is, leave a comment. I want to create discussion on this one. I think there'll be a lot of discussion. Are you a positive fan? Are you a negative fan? Do you admit that you're one of the two? And are you fair in your portrayal of the positivity or the negativity? Whatever it is, I'm blabbing now. Leave a comment below. I'd love to read, react, and reply. Subscribe if you'd like to. Like this video if you'd like to. Again, thanks for the well wishes. I thank you for your prayers and the wishes for a speedy recovery. I'll keep you updated as I go, but I'd love to know what you have to say about this topic. Have a great day. God bless. Go Canucks, go.